Hi, welcome to a new video, and in this one I want to share my thoughts around the GT Sophie videos that have been published by Sony AI, Sony and Polyphony Digital today, because it's some really quite interesting stuff. Now, for those of you who don't know, and I will leave a link to the Sony AI YouTube channel down below where you can get all of the info you need. In a nutshell, Sony AI is Sony Corporation company that was set up a couple of years ago to look at artificial intelligence and how it applies to Sony products. And I think it was about a year ago there was an article where they'd basically got an AI to watch Gran Turismo sport footage and drive along to it, effectively setting it a very, very, very quick pace. So what they've done is further refine that using a bunch of AI drivers with slightly different personalities, all with the first name Sophie, spelled weirdly, but Sophie nonetheless, and not just did time trials against human drivers, and these are GT Sport top performing drivers here, so World Series level drivers, but also put them in a series of races against the human drivers, and they did this over 2 rounds. And second round, or the second time around they did it, the AI drivers basically absolutely annihilated the human drivers. So it's interesting because Gran Turismo as a series has always had fairly questionable AI. It's been fairly slow, fairly brain dead, with very little racecraft existing in it. So this is a step forward massively. But what exactly does it mean for Gran Turismo? And if anything, what does it mean for Gran Turismo 7 that comes out in less than a month? Well, watching the footage back, the first thing which is undoubtable is the pace that the AI manages to get out of the cars is incredible, and it does come up with some interesting lines. I'm not convinced they'd work in reality because there are some foibles to Gran Turismo's physics engine that the AI will almost undoubtedly be exploiting. There's also questions about, when a human's driving, be it with a controller or with a wheel, there's, speed of input, particularly with the wheel. How quickly can you get from lock to lock, for example? So what we don't know is whether the AI is having to worry about any of that. It's doubtful. It's just putting input straight in. And obviously the AI is going to know far more about the limits of adhesion in any particular circumstance than a human player will. So advantage AI straight away. That's not to dismiss exactly what Sony AI and Polyphony Digital have managed to do here, because the pace that these AI drivers can set is phenomenal. The question for me is, could you take this AI and just drop it into GT7 or GT Sport for that matter? I don't know. Probably, but it would be worthless in all honesty. Because it would be AI that could only be rivaled by, the top 1%, if not smaller, of Gran Turismo players in the world, which is a bit pointless, which is going to get left for dead, quite frankly. Other questions I have around it is, whilst its pace is extremely good, even during the footage with the human drivers, so when it was competed against the GTS winners, it was a little bit brute force-ish, if I can put it that way, in some of its passes and some of what it did, both against the humans and against each other. It also exploited the extremes of track limits a lot. So, it's not without fault, and there are a few things that do need to be resolved. One, and the first one, is the scalability of it. They've got to be able to reduce the pace of these cars and have various pace options that can fit in with the wide range and diverse group of people that play Gran Turismo titles. There's going to need to go from fairly slow pedestrian stuff right the way up to lunatic fast. And then there's the fact that when you're dealing with AI, and I read today an old Microsoft paper on this actually, when you're designing AI for games, you've got two choices. Do you go for an AI that carries out the perfect action every single time, or do you go for an AI that is entertaining and enjoyable to work with? And at the moment, GT Sophie falls into the first category for me. And it would be akin to, for example, playing a first-person shooter where the AI bots never missed. Every single time they went for you, they hit you. It's the pinnacle of AI, but it's not enjoyable to be on the receiving end of it. So they need to add in that kind of human fallibility to it. And that, I think, to do it convincingly is going to be tricky. The reason why I think this is because we've actually had two companies attempt machine learning based AI so far. Milestone with its Ride 4 and the more recent MotoGP titles being one, and Forza since day one with the driver task system, and they've worked on that, and they've had a team of high caliber people at their Cambridge development academy working on this, and it's that implementation that in both cases is where it falls down, that human element to it, and I think that's where Sony will have their work cut out, shall I say. Now, that's not to dismiss exactly how impressive what's been done by Sony AI and Polyphony Digital here is. It is incredibly impressive. It just needs works before it can be put into a title. Now, they have said that they hope to bring it to Gran Turismo 7. There are no timelines around that, and I think if you're expecting it for launch date, you're going to be deeply disappointed. I would be absolutely gobsmacked if they managed that. And I think this close to launch, they would have said if it was going to be there for launch. So we don't know when, and arguably if, because they've said they hope to bring it to GT7. Not they will, they hope to. And then how it will be implemented within GT7 or future titles will be interesting as well, with a few not entirely clear options shown to us during the presentations about how they'll implement it, and your guess on some of these is as good as mine. But it is a really interesting development. It's not perfect. I'm not sure in the way it's been shown to us that it is release ready, but it's still damn impressive, and it will be interesting to see what we get off of the back of this, and how well it integrates and how well it works when it finally has the test of not just a handful of people playing against it, but millions of people playing against it, and that really will be very interesting. So those are my thoughts on the GT Sophie project and the videos that have been put out around those over the course of the last 24 hours. If you found this interesting, please do hit the like button, and if you want to see more videos like this, please do subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon to be notified when new videos get uploaded. Thanks very much. Take care.